Hello, this is Nate, and this is what's new in D2L for spring 2021. Well, 2020 has been quite the adventurous year. Thus, I'm recording this in December of 2020 to make sure you have something in case things go a little bit crazy in January before the spring semester starts. So, let's jump in. What are the things I'm going to talk about? There's some changes with D2L, nothing major. Some third-party stuff that is a little more major, you may or may not be aware of. The regular changes, those monthly changes as well as annual changes that come along. We'll talk about new features. Do we really want them? And then I need to address an elephant in the room with Colorado Online. So let's jump in. First thing, domain changes. Online.ppcc.edu is going away in December of 2020. Please check your bookmarks. We will only be using ppcc.desiretololearn.com. A lot of techie reasons behind that, but the simplest is you now have one domain to go to. You don't have to worry about which one works with what computer and that kind of stuff. So ppcc.desiretololearn.com is going to be the only domain that we have now. The links from the portal, search, all that stuff will continue to work. But if you have bookmarks, please check those because they may run out on you. Another change we're making starting in December and heading into spring 21 is we are renaming the master semester to starter shells. Nothing technologically will be changing. We are just removing the term master semester. If you change one of these shells, it's not going to change the copies or anything like that. And considering the climate we're in right now, it's just as easy to change this to starter shells and move on. Next thing, and this one is a little bit bigger deal, especially for some of your students. We had a bug where we couldn't get SMS notifications out in a timely manner. That seems to have been resolved. We're going to be doing some testing, but we are very optimistic we're going to be turning on SMS notifications. That means the students can click on their name and then down to notifications, and they can turn on email notifications or hopefully SMS, and they can get updates of when you load content or grade a paper or something like that. All sorts of different features. I encourage you to go in there, check that out, and encourage your students to do that as well to stay up on their work in these very challenging times. Now, let's jump into some of the third-party integrations that are now in D2L since we last spoke in January of 2020. We have integrated WebEx collaboration. There are links on the blog with directions of how to get that set up. I do need to say this is a pretty finicky little tool. And for some reason, it sometimes thinks stuff over and sometimes doesn't. For the most part, it works. If you ever have problems, I encourage you to click on this button. It looks like a box with an arrow pointing out. It will sign you out of WebEx, but not D2L. And then you can sign back in. And most of the time, that solves the issue. To be honest, though, with WebEx collaboration, we don't have a lot of back-end things we can check. We're going to ask you to log out, log back in. If your videos end up on WebEx but not on D2L and you can't get it to work, by all means, copy and paste the links over into content. That's probably your best move. Speaking of video recordings, Pikes Peak Community College has given us access to Zoom using CARES money, and so we went ahead and integrated that with D2L. The Zoom integration is very different than the WebEx integration, though. The Zoom integration is only for instructors and only to set up meetings. You can't put recordings over there, but the meetings will now show up in the D2L calendar. Is that helpful? Which one do you want to use, WebEx or Zoom? For right now, you have access to both. As I mentioned, Zoom is used with CARES money. Who knows what next year will bring, but spring 21, you will have access to Zoom integrated within D2L. The next tool has brought about a lot of conversations on campus. Respondus Lockdown in Browser is shared with not all classes on campus. Your department has to opt in. And what this is it's a browser that locks down the student's computer so they can't search for the answers while taking a test. And the monitor feature records them taking the test and has facial recognition. Now, there are some distinct drawbacks to this because the nature of the tool is blocking your students from having access to materials. Is that what you want to do? In high stakes assessment, that's probably a valid option. The other thing to be aware of is there are some technological barriers, especially around Android and Chromebook that Respondus is working on. And also Monitor is a video that's capturing people's faces. Some people like that, some people don't. Also, lighting is very important, as well as darker skin tones can sometimes set off the alerts. That's why the whole recording is there, so you can go in and take a look at it and make sure everything's on the up and up. So if you're interested in Lockdown Browser and you don't see it within your course under quizzes, reach out to your department chair or associate dean, and they can explore it with you as to whether that tool makes sense within your department. So that wraps up the third-party tools. Let's talk about some of the regular changes that are going to happen even if 2021 is a normal year. D2L makes changes every month. Most changes are pretty minor, but some are noticeable. For example, right now they're working on the instructor tool for creating assignments. So you may see some tweaks and things like that. Most of the time it's not a big deal. And most of the time if I'm given a choice, I will always give you the option to revert back. It's only when they take away that option that I have to take it away. Look for the blog and emails regarding major changes. I'm not going to send you one every month if all it is fixing some bugs. But if there's something substantial, I'll give you a heads up on it. Make sure that if you see an email from Nate or there's a blog post out there that says major changes coming, you probably want to take a look at that. The dates of the changes in the spring semester are January 21st, February 18th, March 18th, and April 15th. All of those are Thursdays. D2L has a tendency to make those changes late in the day on Thursday. Sometimes they get delayed into early morning hours on Friday. So just so you know, it's a Thursday night, Friday morning kind of thing. And it's system-wide. D2L picks the dates for us. We don't really get to do that. Next is the archival of the 2019 classes. Spring 19, summer 19, fall 19. And you notice I used the word archival instead of purge. System IT has come out with a new policy regarding us keeping materials. We have to keep materials now for 5 years. However, we are going to continue our cycle of every April archiving them. And by archiving them, you won't have access, students won't have access, you don't have to worry about them in your lists anymore. They will be available for archive in case we need to pull something out, but they aren't going to be in the LMS day to day. We are asking, though, that you would talk to your deans and associate deans before pulling these archivals. We can't just pull your shell because we don't like it, okay? So we will be archiving on April 6th, which is a week after spring break. That way you have a heads up. I'll send out a reminder about a month before. So let's talk about some new features coming down the path. No. When possible, I'm going to say no. We have had enough change in 2020 to where if there's anything coming down the pike, we're going to hold off as long as we can. I want D2L to be as consistent for you and your students as possible. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to hold back the entire change, but for right now, last year when I gave this presentation, I was talking about a brand new navigation look and content experiences and stuff like that. I just put a timeout on that. We're going to wait until things calm down, if things calm down, and we'll implement those, frankly, when I have time and when you have a little bit more mental resources to take care of that. We're dealing with a lot of changes here in e-learning. I know if you're teaching remote, a method that a year ago we didn't even know the term remote instruction. So my goal is to keep giving you a consistent tool that you can use that you know works. But there is a substantial change coming. Colorado Online was announced by the Chancellor's office in November. Dr. Bolton sent out an email to everybody about it. What are the details? We don't know yet. It's a 3-year plan, and the goal is to improve online courses in Colorado through Colorado Community College system. What does that mean? There's a lot of people scared, a lot of people excited, and then there's me who goes, I have no clue what's coming. So kind of keep your ear out for things regarding Colorado Online. This is really instigated by HLC, not necessarily liking the CCC Online model. So the system is changing to this Colorado Online model. And what the details are, I'm going to put a link in the PowerPoint. You're welcome to check that out. It's also in Dr. Bolton's email. As we learn more over the next several years, you will be hearing a lot about Colorado Online. So that wraps up what's new. One other thing, just as a heads up, e-learning has really changed over the last year. I'm finding myself working on a lot of projects. I'm finding myself working on all these integrations and loads and things like that. I don't get to emails as quickly as I used to. So I encourage you, if you've got a question, drop it to that e.learning line or call the 3555 line. One of our staff will be happy to direct it where it needs to go. And that way, it's not sitting in my inbox getting flooded and waited, and then you get frustrated because Nate didn't reply, and it's 3 days later, and he's usually pretty good at replying. So please use that e.learning at ppcc.edu. But if you do have something specific for me, there's my email address as well. Be safe, take care of each other, and have a great semester.